to mention why I think this is important to you. You will verify. But in a few weeks' time, your daughter passed away about 2 years ago. After that, you founded the Noni Kariuki Foundation. And this is part of the causes you have taken up. You provide scholarships to children, I think at least 2 as of last year, several going into secondary school. And the other reason this is important to her is also because when she was Minister of Health, she signed the first ever menstrual hygiene management policy as Cabinet Secretary for Health in 2019. So makofi kwako, and now I will invite you to make your remarks.
Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, and if you will allow me to say good afternoon to all of us. I didn't know that there was going to be part of sitting here was also going to be a celebration of sorts and a bit of fun. Allow me, Monica, and to the family called NMG to appreciate you very, very heartily for 2 things. One, finding it fit to use your platforms and your convening power to invite all of us here this afternoon, and importantly, finding it fit that Sicily Kariuki, former CS Health, could also offer some opening remarks to just put things in context. But allow me to also say exactly but 5 days from today is when my daughter, lovely Noni, went to be with the Lord 3 years ago. Now, she was an intern with UNFPA, and while there, she crisscrossed the slums of Nairobi between Mathare, Kibra, and one of her passions was actually to speak to girls her age and younger about how the girl's young body functions and exactly what it means to be on a period. And in the process, she moved around also distributing pads, which the family supported her to do, and just as we were at the tail end of formulating a foundation for Noni, she had to move where we'll all move. And so to immortalize her acts at year 21 years, the family found it fit to go ahead and register an NGO, Noni Kariuki Foundation. And yes, we have children in school. We have adopted children who are in an orphanage, big one, about 100 of them. We do support very, very needy and special girls and young women. Our space is the most vulnerable in terms of disability or specially abled. Some of them can't speak. Some of them can't see. Some can't walk. Some don't have very good cognitive abilities. And so for a girl in Kenya, it's not only bad enough to be on a period that we don't speak about. You can imagine what happens when you can't talk. And so I'm here, one, because of that, but importantly also because of the spaces I have been. When I was a CS for youth and gender affairs, I crisscrossed this country. I went to upwards of 250 constituencies. And in the process, I met girls, young girls and women. And I could relate with the struggles that you're shy to have a conversation around the biological functioning of your body. And nobody will listen. And when you're sick, it is worse that you can't even tell your dad what you're going through because we don't speak about periods in Kenya, period. Your mother, who is struggling to put food on the table, just in the event that her biological processes are a little bit different and she doesn't have to go through the pain that Monica has talked about, won't understand either. She won't even induct you into what it means to actually experience a period. Period. But allow me, on the second bit of our celebration here today, allow me to celebrate the actors who've been there long before I even came into those spaces. We have our development partners, the UNICEF, the USAID, the UNFPA were non-interned, the AMREFs, and a lot of them that supported me even when I was designing the policy and the strategy. Allow me to also recognize all the other actors, from the manufacturers to the people working at the grassroots where I am working. It's because of you that Nation finds it fit to give us a platform, because there are people doing a great thing. They never get to be celebrated, but allow me to just celebrate you today. Allow me to particularly single out the grassroots actors. In rural Kenya, in Wajir, where I've been, Habaswen, in Mandera, where I've been, in Homa Bay, where I've been, and where girls don't talk about being on a period. I want to recognize strategic allies such as Nation Media Group for coming into the space and wanting to give us voice to be able to talk and talk some more. And obviously, we want to recognize the government, where I have been. I'm sure they're represented here, and all the other actors. Now, Bada, my role was not to even give a vote of thanks, but I think it would be careless of me if I didn't recognize that, because that's the only reason I was able to move from point A, B, and now you took off and are already moving towards D, E, and moving all the way to Z. So one then wonders, so why am I here, Sicily? One, it is a hat that I wear on behalf of my family, behalf of friends and partners that have been supporting the foundation, but importantly, the experiences that I carried while I was a Minister for Youth, Gender, and later on, when I came to health in 2018, and I found a protracted process of a team that was struggling to put together the policy, but without much traction, without much energy. And therefore, I did summon them, given the experience that I had had as a lady and the experience that I had as a minister in gender. And we agreed quickly we were going to hasten the process of consulting the stakeholders and quickly process the policy out. Forever grateful, because as soon as I left the space, I signed on it and it was launched officially the year that I left the ministry. But importantly, perhaps I am here because today, as we sit here, as we speak, there's a young girl in rural Kenya who perhaps is going through body shaming, period shaming, pardon me, because they don't have the products. They have messed their dress. The young boy or the young man shaming the girl as we speak here isn't aware what they are doing, because we haven't perhaps educated the men and boys that it is a societal issue we are handling. And therefore, while they shame, we have a duty. We are being called then to help these young men and boys to be part of the conversation, to be able, instead of shaming, to encourage our girls and young women. Equally important, today as we sit here, it is possible somewhere in rural Kenya, a girl missed school yesterday. Of the 1 million that we speak about, 4 days, she won't be attending school. 5 days, she may not attend school. Compound that, up to 6 weeks. This girl, a foregone opportunity, will struggle, may negate where she's going as she grows up. As to whether she can reach where we are and be in Safari Park, only God knows. But she has missed substantial time out of school, not because of anything that she can be blamed for, just because biology happens. And right now, somewhere in Kenya, a girl or a young mother is queuing, waiting to be attended to by a healthcare worker. Why? Because she's either picked an infection out of using dirty clothes, toilet paper, or just simply walking around in underpants without the products. And so she has picked a urinary tract infection. Now, we don't know how that will span out when she goes into childbearing stage. That is what, Monica, you spoke about. It is not statistics. It is a reality in terms of where we find our young girls and women. The latest survey tells us 1.2% of Kenyan women can't, at this point in time, independent Kenya afford the product. The study goes ahead to tell us 0.5% of the Kenyan population, we female population, use underwears. And it must be unimaginable how then you move around. Today, in one of the urban settings in Kenya today, we have a mother who was set to go work, get wages to place food on the table today. She won't do it because she doesn't have the product. Now, it moves away from economics, it moves to the reality that this woman struggling somewhere in Kibra won't be able to get her daily wages, and therefore the children, the family, will go unfed. So the conversation we are having here is bigger than the numbers. It is bigger than the girls. It is bigger than what we did and what we didn't do. Perhaps it is bigger as we plot where we want to take this conversation through action. Now, let me say, as I come to close this, say that as I was reflecting what this means and what this, for us as stakeholders who are privileged to sit here, what it means, is that we can be part of the solution. It isn't a far-fetched dream that period poverty in years to come could be a thing of the past that will celebrate and say, we have normalized the conversations. We have not only normalized the conversations, but we have our new champions by bringing in our men and young boys to be part of this very vital conversation. It's an economic conversation, it's a social conversation, it's even a political policy conversation. Let me also propose that we can be part of the solution by stepping up the ongoing advocacy work. There's so much more to be done. Our girls in schools and institutions of higher learning require to do their thing in privacy. They need facilities. We need water, and as fate would have it, as I moved towards the water ministry, it occurred to me the responsibility is not escaping anytime soon from me. Sign the policy, you go to the other side, and you need to sign on staff to make sure that part of what you do is avail water, in particular the public schools where we don't have water. But I'm also urging the stakeholders that we need privacy, even with the water and facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, our mothers who are working in factories and other commercial settings need facilities so that we are not exposed to what we saw in Lemuru not long ago. They need to be educated as well, but be allowed some wiggle room to do their thing. How about legislation? The policy is there, the strategy is there. How are we progressing the conversation there? How do we need to bring the government in to perhaps help us with a better coordinating mechanism, which was one of the policy objectives, so that we have a more coherent, a holistic approach to interventions around ending period poverty. I'll conclude by saying as well that we need to be able to ensure part of the conversation addresses the cost, affordability, access in those very remote areas. But finally, I want to offer and say that as soon as we are normalizing the conversation around menstrual hygiene, health and hygiene, collaboration is the new normal. Partnership becomes the new normal. For the manufacturer, for the policy maker, for the development partner, for the grassroots actor, for the media guys, and any other Kenya of goodwill. I therefore want to urge us to view this journey as if it belongs to all of us. I'm here because I'm convinced, working together, we can inch faster, closer to ending period poverty in Kenya. Finally, allow me to borrow the words of one great lady, one Mother Teresa, and she says, none of us ever do great things And I was a bit surprised because we all think we are doing a great thing. She goes ahead to say, but we all can do small things with great love, and together we can do something wonderful. How I pray that what comes out of our convening here today is something wonderful. But we do it with love, and we do it as a system, and we do it all together. I won't conclude this conversation without recognizing Neville. Neville, you'll be here. Neville, are you here? Neville Okwaro. I wanted to celebrate him just because he's one of the teams, my technical teams while I was a ministry, that was pushing and every time keeping me updated how the policy was progressing. And he's still one of our greatest champions in this place. Never mind, he's a gentleman. Demystifying the conversation, because it's not a girl's conversation. It's not a mother's conversation. Allow me to stop there, because, you know, when you get out of those big places, you don't have audiences. And when you do, then you keep talking. Allow me to sign off by saying, yours truly, I'm looking forward to playing my part. Please, please, play your part. And let's make progress. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Makofi kwake. Makofi ya kilo. Hayo ni makofi ambayo yana wivu kidogo, lakini thank you so very much. We appreciate you, waziri. Asante. Huyu ni nani tena? Atasubiria kidogo.
Alright.
Tumpigie makofi mazuri, sio? Haya, wacha nafundisha ya mwisho.
Haya.
Haya. Fanyeni hivi. Tufanye hivyo. Weka biriganya kidogo, viazi karai, tomato, weka nini nyingine? Nini nyingine Waswahili wa Mombasa mpo? Angusha. Imechelewa jamani. Ongeza. Matunda gani? Parachichi hivi?
Umesahau chumvi.
Chumvi.
Yeah.
Kesho kutwa jamani. Parachichi, mchicha. We nawe. Angusha. Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Fred. Quick announcement, KBM 180Q, KCE 266V. If you can please go to your vehicles, move them, I imagine. This is why we've been doing this?
Absolutely, yes. Okay. Yes.
Not a present or something. But anyway, I love that Mheshimiwa Kariuki spoke about water. You know, because it's not just about the pads.